Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss stories where truth, courage, and consequences collide. I never imagined the truth would surface in the middle of a celebration. That evening, everything looked flawless. Warm lights washed over the backyard, laughter bounced across the patio, and familiar faces filled the space. Old college friends, co-workers, people who had walked alongside us for years. Glasses clinked, voices overlapped, and to anyone watching from the outside, it all looked like pure happiness. Marble stood right at the heart of it. One hand rested protectively on her stomach, the other holding a champagne glass. She looked glowing, calm, self-assured, like someone convinced she was about to share the happiest news of her life. She tapped her spoon against the glass, smiling as the noise slowly faded. "Thank you all for coming," she said warmly, "and for being here to celebrate something really important with us." She paused, letting anticipation build. "You're all going to be part of our journey," she continued, "because we're expecting a baby. I'm pregnant." The response was immediate. Cheers exploded. Applause filled the air. Someone shouted congratulations. People rushed toward her with hugs and tears of joy. I didn't move. My smile stayed frozen. My hands stayed empty. I felt like the only person in the room who already knew how the story ended, and who had just realized I was never meant to be part of it. If this story is already pulling you in, pause for a second and tap like so it reaches others who know what betrayal feels like. Marble looked at me then, waiting. She expected excitement, pride, something fitting for a future father. What she received instead was silence, not because I was stunned but because I was done pretending. Slowly, I raised my glass and stood. Conversations softened. The music kept playing, but enough people noticed that something felt off. When I spoke, my voice was steady, steadier than I expected. "Thank you," I said, nodding toward the guests. "Really? This is quite the announcement." Marble's smile tightened just a fraction. "There's just one small correction," I added. A few uneasy laughs rippled through the crowd. "You're congratulating the wrong man," I said calmly. "The congratulations should go to Rowan Hale, Emily's husband." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was crushing. Rowan stood near the grill, his drink frozen halfway to his lips. The color drained from his face so fast it was almost unreal. His wife, Eloan, turned toward him slowly, confusion hardening into something sharper. "What did he just say?" someone whispered. Marble stared at me like I'd spoken another language. "What are you doing?" she hissed. I didn't answer her. I didn't need to. I looked straight at Rowan. "You didn't really think this would stay hidden forever, did you?" He opened his mouth, closed it, looked away, then back at me. Nothing came out. That silence was answer enough. Pause here and tell me in the comments, would you have stayed quiet? Or would you have spoken up? You could feel the shift. The room changed as people started connecting the dots. Realization spread slowly, then all at once. Eloan stepped back as if the ground beneath her had cracked. "Rowan," she said softly. "Is he lying?" Rowan swallowed hard. Still no response. That's when Marble snapped. "This is insane," she shouted. "You're ruining everything." I let out a short, hollow laugh. "No," I said. "I'm just done lying for you." 3 months earlier, I'd found the messages by accident. A contact saved under initials. Late-night texts. Excuses that never quite added up. I didn't confront her right away. I needed facts, not assumptions. So I watched. I listened. I waited. And when the timeline finally came together, one truth became painfully clear. The baby wasn't mine. I told her I knew. She cried. She begged. She called it a mistake. Said it meant nothing. Said I should stay for appearances, for stability, for the child. What she never said was sorry. If you've ever been asked to carry someone else's lie, type truth in the comments. Back at the party, Eloan's voice trembled. "Answer me." Rowan finally spoke, barely audible. "I didn't plan this." That was all it took. Guests suddenly remembered early mornings and long drives. One by one they left. The music kept playing, oblivious, now mocking the collapse it underscored. Marble stared at me, eyes wild. "You could have handled this privately." I met her gaze. "You made it public the moment you raised that glass." I set my drink down and walked away. Behind me, crying, shouting, a marriage ending in real time. But for the first time in months, my chest felt light. Stay with me, and when you're ready, share this story with someone who knows how silence can hurt more than truth. Outside, the air was cool and still. I lit a cigarette, something I rarely did, just to feel something solid in my hands. They shook, not from fear but from release. Rowan followed a few steps behind, muttering apologies. I didn't respond. Some things can't be undone. The drive home was empty. Just the hum of the engine and passing headlights. I thought about the cheers, the raised glasses, the ignorance beneath them. It didn't matter. Reality had always been my anchor. At home, I sat on the couch with a glass of water and finally let everything settle. My phone buzzed. A message from my sister. "Are you okay?" I saw the messages. I smiled faintly. She understood without explanation. Leaving wasn't weakness. It was clarity. A week passed. Friends returned carefully. Rowan avoided me. Aloan attempted awkward conversations that went nowhere. Marble tried rewriting the night through anyone who would listen. I stayed silent, and in that silence I grew stronger. If you were in my place, would you have exposed the truth or waited? Comment below. By the second week, I reclaimed small pieces of my life. Quiet dinners. Long walks. Unclaimed weekends. Then Marble texted. "Can we talk?" I waited. Finally, I replied. "When honesty is on the table." That night, I slept without the weight of pretending. Messages followed from friends, from strangers. You stood up for yourself. You chose truth. The story no longer belonged only to me. It belonged to anyone forced to smile through betrayal. Weeks later, I saw Rowan and Aloan at a coffee shop. No words were needed. The truth had already spoken. As I walked away, I made myself a promise. No more lies. No more silence. Because truth, no matter how painful, is worth more than living a lie. Subscribe for more stories where honesty and courage take the lead. Like, comment, and share. Someone out there needs this.